Tale as old as time,
Song as old as rhyme.
moist Tariq Nasheed.
Now, since I got your attention, greetings and salutations. This is BIGJ and before I get to the meat and the crux of this video, I'm going to talk about the video I did the latter part of last year, a couple months ago, and in that video called "An Alternative to Reparations." I gave out my ideas for an alternative approach to the current reparations movement, to counter the FBA, the fundamental Black American movement, and the other controversial movement called American Descendants of Slaves. And I know that the picture I have is very let's just say crude. So let's not let's not so please ignore the crude colors and lines, because I'm not going to explain it, because I'm not going to explain the entirety of my ideas, not online. So for this video, I'm not going to go to the details and of the policy positions that what I would like to see done, but let me just give you an outline of it. And let me just, I don't know whether to call it the Monroe Doctrine for Africa or the transatlantic trade proposal or the transatlantic trade zone. And I'm gonna go into it, but first let's talk about a little bit of the history for those who don't know. Between 1450 and 1870 exists slaves being transported to one location of the world, from Africa to the West Indies and to the continents of the Western Hemisphere. According to France, 1.8 million out of 12.5 million were either lost or unaccounted for, meaning the transportation of slaves to their colonies, from Africa to their to places like Haiti, Louisiana, and some French portions of South America and the islands thereof. That's 1.8 million out of 12.5 million slaves was lost. And that's just a conservative estimate. In 1808, the United States and the United Kingdom of Great Britain have outlawed the transatlantic slave trade. In 1826, according to the British Brazilian Treaty of 1826, Brazil joined in abolishing the transportation of slaves into Brazil. And as for, since we're going to talk about the issue of ADOS, if we're going to talk about slavery when it concerns of the United States, many slaves, according to the Book of Negroes, I'm going to use this as a reference point of how many American slaves left the new nation called the United States. When the black loyalists left during the American Revolution, the liberal amount of 1,500 individuals left this new union to places like Nova Scotia. Then a second wave of black slaves leaving the United States was during the World War of 1812, at least 4,000. That's a conservative measurement. And during the Underground Railroad and current slave revolts between that time and the end of the Civil War, up until 1866, the conservative amount is 30,000 individuals leaving the Union into what we call Canada. And some of these Canadians, these newly black Canadians, according to the Book of Negroes, and according to other findings, left to other locations. Some went to the Caribbean, like the Bahamas, like the Trinidad, Jamaica. Some went to the United Kingdom itself, which in turn, the United Kingdom sent many of their black population to a place called Sierra Leone, and the United States have sent their free slaves starting from the early part of the 19th century to the country we now call Liberia. And both those countries are neighboring countries side by side in western part of Africa. So I would like to talk about the purpose of part 2 of the transatlantic trade proposal of mine. And here are the goals. The goals is simple. Because of the effects of slavery started by the British Crown, by the British government, and the American government, I believe that the diaspora and those on the continent of English-speaking African nations, primarily Sierra Leone and Liberia, should attain some form of repayment, or the descendants, I should say, should gain the the repayment of past sins and crimes, since it's a crime of humanity. And according to the number, I'm trying to remember, I think it was the profit, and I'm going to use France's profit. I do not have the profit of the cost, of the percentage wise of the profits that was made. According to France, I don't know the United Kingdom's profit margins or the American profit margins out of hand, but 8% to 15% profits was made by France. And this is a conservative estimate, by the way. How much profit was made off of free enslaved labor? So what I would like to produce is a trade union to any country that has a sizable black population that speaks English. And right now I'm saying speaking those countries that speak English first. Now, I might sound hypocritical later on because I really want to use Haiti as a central point of the trade. Why Haiti? And that's if you see the blue line drawn from Florida down into Haiti. Why Haiti? Because first of all, Haiti is in the geographical center of the Caribbean, and Haiti is also the most poorest nation in the world. Well, one of the poorest nations in the Western Hemisphere, and also Haiti is one of the first, if not the first, countries formed by slaves, by black African slaves. And I believe that they should get any help that they can. So in the last video I made about going back to the recreation of the Freedmen's Bureau, which would be a which would be an infrastructure bank that would help black Americans, the ACBUs, the infrastructure, and baby bond. What I would like to see in expanding is also to link the Freedmen's Bureau to the other central banks that are in the Caribbean and also in the continent of Africa itself. And it is about reducing trade barriers and also produce tariffs for any country outside of the union itself, this trade union. Africa will send raw materials to us. We'll trade back to them with finished products, and with low cost, low fees. But if any outside group, China, Russia, any other country that does not have, that's outside of this union, will have to pay an extra tariff. Have to pay tariff that would add it into the coffers of both the Freedmen's Bureau here in the United States, and also to finance the infrastructure within the countries that I have listed below. And hopefully within the next 5 years, 10 years, the rest of the continent itself, the English, the French speaking, Portuguese speaking, German speaking, Arab speaking parts of the continent will be included. But for right now, I'm gonna speak with the English speaking parts of Africa first, because with the trade barriers, with the language barriers, it will be easier. With the language barriers, and then customs and laws are similar under English common law, and that people in Great Britain, the black community in Great Britain, Canada, will be getting repayment off of the tariffs in the goods, the tariffs of goods that's being paid by the outside of the trade union. And that's all I gotta say on the video. So like, share, subscribe. I would go in more on this, but I'm gonna keep a rest of this conversation to myself. There might be a third part to this, but I'd rather, I'm gonna talk about the details later on if you are interested. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.